Hey guys, so we're going to start the channel off with something that I do a lot, something I'm pretty confident in, something I catch a lot of fish with, and that's a Texas rig. So this is the Texas rig in its entirety. It's made up of a weight, a hook, and then your bait. And the Texas rig is just a way that you hook the bait. That's really it. So first, we'll go over a couple hooks that are most common. First will be the EWG style hook, the straight shank flipping hook, and then the offset worm hook. Now, we'll start with the offset worm hook. I like to throw these with a worm really in light to medium cover. That's where these really shine. The straight shank flipping hook, I throw anything in heavy cover. If I have to put anything in heavy cover, I throw it on a straight shank flipping hook most of the time. Then lastly is the EWG. I throw this on all my creature baits, thicker baits, even stick baits also. I'll throw on here, mainly because of the hook gap. Also, EWGs get hung up less, and we'll go over that here in a minute. Here are a few common baits that I'll throw. Straight tail worm. This is a Riot baits probe. A tube. Tubes are great because they look like a lot of things. They look like a craw, they look like a shad swimming, they look just like anything a fish will eat. The beaver style bait. This is the Riot baits fuzzy beaver. This is in Slayer, which is a green pumpkin and Junebug color. Catch a lot of fish on this. A craw. This is a Relic from Riot. Not all craws will have a spider hub, but this is just the craw. These appendages will swim. And then a ribbon tail worm. This is a 10.5 inch ribbon tail worm. This is from Yum. So now we'll go ahead and rig up a few of these and show you how to actually Texas rig. We'll start with the offset worm hook, and we'll rig it on what I would normally use it with is a straight tail worm. So to begin with one of these, with any of the offset, if it's offset or a straight shank, you want to, instead of going in straight, you want to go in at an angle. So I will hook the bait through the face, through the head, at an angle like that. Then once you've done that, you'll run it up the hook. Then once you get to the offset part of the shank, you'll run it up, and then you'll turn it. And then on these offsets and straights, you won't run the hook straight through the bait like on EWG. You'll actually want to push the hook back up into the bait, and it's going to show you the angle. By just letting it hang, it shows you the angle that it needs to go in. So here's where the back of the hook is. So this is where we're going to put the hook in, and just going to put it in the best we can at that angle that it showed us. So the hook is just right there. It's ready to come out. There you can kind of see the point. Doesn't take a whole lot. There, that's better. Now, the reason you want to go at an angle is because since it's offset, the hook point is not in line with the line tie. So if this were straight, it would look more like that. So you do it at an angle to make your bait as straight as you can, and that's very important. Next, we'll do the EWG. We'll put it on a tube. So with the tube, or with the EWG, like I was saying, you'll do it a little different. But since the shank, or the line tie, and the hook point are almost in line, instead of at an angle, you'll run it straight into the bait, and then straight out. So see how it goes straight, it's not at an angle? Run it up just like the other, Then the tube, you'll run it, the hook, you'll kind of figure out where it goes. This looks a little big, but kind of see where it goes, and then you'll run it straight through. Like so. That way the hook point sits flat on the back, and then you'll do what's called text posing, and you'll kind of skin hook it back into the bait. And see how my tube is straight? Looks really good. And lastly, I'll show you the offset shank, or not the offset, the straight shank flipping hook really quick. Same exact principle as the offset worm hook, right at an angle. Like that. Run it up the shank, but there's no offset part, so you just run it up the bait keeper. They come with a little plastic bait keeper, and the same thing, it will tell you the angle to go in at. Right there. So now we'll go over when to use which kind of style hook. Like I said earlier, I throw the offset shank, or not the straight shank flipping hook when I'm in heavy cover, because it's a very strong hook, it's very heavy wire, as you can see, compared to a standard EWG wire. These are much stronger, but these will get hung up more due to the fact that the hook point is pretty much exposed. It's just right there. It does not take very much at all to get that to come out and snag. Now, since the EWG sits flat on the back, it doesn't get hung up very much at all. I can actually apply some pretty good pressure and not get poked. But with these, it doesn't take much at all. Hardly anything. And that hook will come out. Does not take very much if you're doing it right. But since the hook is out a little bit more, these do have a better hookup ratio than EWG, but it's very minimal. And then the same will apply for your offset shank, straight or offset shank worm hook. They are a little more apt to hang up, because all it takes is for this to get pushed on by a limb, and then that hook is coming out like that. So another thing to use on a texture rig would be a swim bait. This is a Tattletail swim bait. The texture rig is really versatile. It's used whenever you're flipping into cover, whenever you're wanting to make any bait weedless. So, I'm not throwing this in cover, I'm throwing it along grass lines or on points or ledges. Maybe not this specific one, but it gives me a weedless presentation. If there's grass down there on a ledge or a point, I'd like to have this, that way I don't get hung up so much, or if that is a problem. But typically when I'm throwing a Texas rig, I'm usually flipping it, but you can cast them. Texas rigs are also used on the Carolina rig. So that'll be it for today's episode. I'll do some more videos, more in-depth on certain things, on flipping and certain baits. So alrighty, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, any video suggestions you guys have, questions, leave them down there. I have a discount code for Riot. I'll leave in the description box below for 15% off. So thank you. God bless.